Welcome everybody. Sorry, I'm kind of running around with doing some chores and stuff around here that I was going to do before the last stream went long, so I apologize. I think I'm back and ready to go though. Just been running around. Oh, thanks, Philip. I appreciate that. It was actually really exciting. I love those type of oh crap moments that happen, especially in tabletop, and you think there's no way this is going to work out very well, and then you get some, you know, amazing stuff that happens to kind of make it turn out all right, and that was one of them. I can't tell you guys how happy I was after that was after that was over. Rarely have I had a combat encounter that was that distressing at the start of it end up with that favorable of an outcome, so I was really happy about that. Sorry, I did brag a little bit about it. I apologize. But yeah, I was pretty happy about it. Yeah, good point, Philip. That would make for a good title for a thumbnail. Hopefully this one will be quite different. I had a plan, and then I guess I got a little greedy and picked up that potion, and that blew it all up, which is crazy because I know what I actually started doing, I mentioned it last week, is that it's been so long since I've been at this section of it in my personal playthrough that I was having to go back and kind of replay some some save games to try and remember how I did things in the past. And I know, because I did it earlier this week, picked up that greater health potion and did not get caught doing it. So I don't know what was different about this one, but certainly started off bad. You mean the inn? The last light inn? All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 15 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, I mentioned this in the Bard live stream a few hours ago. Larian this week released a hotfix. I believe it's hotfix number 10. I had mentioned last week that they had released a huge patch, patch number 4. And as to be expected, there were going to be some small issues with it here and there. So that's what the hotfix was really meant to fix, was some of the things that had popped up during the patch. But there are a couple of additional items that they fixed as well. One of the big things is they hopefully have a fix for some of the Vulcan stability issues now that have been affecting streamers in particular who play in windowed mode for the most part. So having that fix is going to be a big help to a lot of people who are utilizing that. But there are also the things that popped up that we saw last week with Shadowheart not wanting to follow along with the party. That was an issue we had back in early access as well that they fixed, and it came back up and they fixed it again. And then there were some dialogues and cutscenes with Astarion where the voice acting wasn't synced with the animation, so they fixed some of that as well. But fairly small hot fix, but do go take a look at it. Make sure you've got it downloaded if you don't have automatic download set up for your game, to make sure that you're on the latest version of everything. So I think that's it for the admin notes. So on a recap, so at the end of last week's live stream, we made a couple of poor choices. We landed at the Grymforge. We had a quick encounter to rescue a gnome, and then we went to another quick encounter and made some poor decisions when it came to managing dialogue interactions and some choices, and that has left us not being able to get an item that is fairly useful in the game. And we're going to hop right in and we'll explain that real quick. Okay, so here's where we are. This area here with the dead gnomes. When you come up to it, you're going to find a couple of Dwergar here kicking the gnome bodies into the river, and you can have an interaction with them. And one of those interaction dialogue options is to ask about any loot on these bodies, and there's a perception check that you can make. Now, while that dialogue box was active, I decided to back out of it and see if there was anybody else who would be better suited to make that perception check, not realizing that if I backed out of that choice, it wasn't going to appear again. So that loses you the first option to be able to get the item here. There is another way to go about it, though, and that is if you have combat with the Dwergar, which we did. We ended up killing Brathwyn and Vis, who are the two Dwergar that are in here. And I don't know where Vis's body... Oh, there it is. After you've killed them, you can walk in here and a little cutscene will start, and you'll be able to see all the bodies, and it will give you some choices again. And one of those choices is to say that you'll take revenge on them. Another one is just to say that you'll loot them. And then there's a third choice that is to bow your head in respect. If you choose that dialogue option, then that item appears in the inventory of this deep gnome here, and you can loot it. I did not. I chose the option to say that I will avenge their deaths, and that item doesn't appear. So it's not in his inventory. It's not in anybody's inventory. You can't find it. What the item is a ring that allows you once per short rest, once per long rest, to cast the invisibility spell on you, the full-length invisibility spell, which normally lasts for 10 turns. The Helm of Menzoberranzan with the Shrouded in Shadow class action gives you a 2-turn version of invisibility. So shorter amount of time, however, you can replenish it every short rest. The ring gives you the option to take the full 10-turn version of it just once per long rest. So it's another way to get free invisibility, which can be very, very useful. I just made the wrong choices here, so don't make the choices that I made. If you want to see how it can correctly play out, you can review the Bard livestream that we just completed, where I played through this, and you can see those interactions and how they work. So, I think we've dwelled enough on our mistakes here. So, we have taken some damage during that combat. We do have a couple of short rests, but as I mentioned when we started this area here, you do not want to take a long rest here. If you take a long rest, the Nere quest is going to progress, and you're not going to have some options to do certain things that you really want to do. So we need to manage our health pool, our 2 short rests that we have here, as well as our action economy as far as our spell slots go, to make sure that we have enough action economy left to deal with the main encounter that we're going to have with Nere. Hello, Star. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here. So, with that in mind, we are going to do some things here and not do others that are not necessary for us to progress through the main quest area section here, while at the same time taking care of all the encounters that we need to that involve the Dwergar, because, like I say, if you long rest, the Dwergar disappear from here entirely, the Gnomes disappear with them, and you miss out on a large portion of content in this first area of the Grymforge and the Abandoned Refuge. So, what we are going to do here is we can enter into these rooms, these 2 rooms here. So,
tread carefully.
okay, so here there's a wooden barrel that we can search for some camp supplies. And there's a couple of wooden trunks.
Vacant as an orc's skull.
And some more camp supplies. We're actually going to come back to this room. A little bit, so we'll leave it for now.
What now?
And we can enter into this room here.
A crooked touch.
Lots and lots of bonuses. And we're gonna make our way in here. Okay, and we were successful on perceiving the button here. You can see that there's another pathway here on your minimap. Okay, and this pathway leads you to somewhere else, and we're going to hold off on going that way for now as well. So
Never a dull
we
moment.
will go in here and do some
Mind my
searching
step.
and just quickly clear this room out. There's a bunch of silverware in here that is worth a decent amount of money. And there's camp supplies that you can loot as well. So pick up everything that's worthwhile to be able to sell. You are going to have an opportunity to sell here in a minute, so feel free to pick up whatever you can. On these tables, you can hold left alt and you can see all the silver items that you can pick up.
The scraps of a nightfall feast.
To break bread in Shah's name, then spill blood in her name. A sacred rite.
So Shadowheart, being in our party, knows what this is. This was part of a Sharran ritual where they would have dinner and then they would offer up ritual sacrifices to Shar. So again, she knows what this is, and you'll get extra dialogue options by having her in your party throughout this entire area, this Sharran temple that we're at. Okay, there's a pitted key here. You'll see what the use is for that a little bit later. More silver items here to pick up.
Something good here, I hope.
I believe there is another body. Yes, there's another skeleton here. Okay. So there is a little bit more searching that can be done back here. Not much though. And I don't think there's anything back around this side. No. Okay, so we'll group everybody up and head back out here. Yeah, that's a good question, CK. There really is, honestly, just like a lot of looting games, there really is a gold to weight ratio that becomes important. You really only need to pick up the things that weigh above a certain amount of gold per pound level or something. That's how I should be going about it. Honestly, I don't though. For the most part, if it's a weapon or an armor, I pick it up regardless of what it is or what the value is. And just make sure I have looted these two. I'm pretty sure I have. Yes. And then once, like I said, I've played enough of the game to know that it doesn't matter at some points how much I pick up because I have a vendor that's somewhere near that I can use and that sort of stuff. Like technically I should be picking these up because I got a vendor right up there I could sell them at. But the amount of gold that I'm going to get is almost nothing.
What's a fort like
So
this
I
doing in
don't.
the
So there's kind of some, almost a subconscious
Whoever built it, they let it rot for ages.
Kind of do and don't system. It's just not very rigid. I don't really have a limit. So coming up to this encounter here, there are 2 checks here that are involved, and there's a set of intelligence checks and there's a set of perception. There's a perception check. So having a high wisdom stat is nice, but you also need an intelligence stat to be able to get through some of them. So Astarion has a decent investigation stat. There's a history, an investigation, and a perception check that are up here. Gale has good history and investigation, but he has nothing on perception. I have good perception on a couple of these, and have a decent history with Shadowheart, but nothing on investigation. Well, you can help the odds along with that a little bit by using the warped headband of intellect to add to your intelligence. So now Shadowheart has a +3, a +6 in history, +3 in investigation, and a +4 in perception. So you want to make sure that you're going up here and having this conversation with somebody who can be good in all 3 of those. Now, in my playthrough, this does not matter in the slightest,
I'd better do the talking.
but for you, it probably
How
will.
peculiar. Smooth face, cobbled edges. They're a sign. They must be. A sun dweller in these parts. Look here, my topside friend. I need fresh eyes, and I doubt I'll find fresher. The rock, the rubble, all of it, if I may be so bold. Take a look. Tell me what you see, and be thorough.
Okay, so here are the 3 checks to pass. You only get the reward here if you pass all 3 checks. So we'll start with history. These checks are not that difficult. They're all DC 10.
The statue's meandering curves and golden edges stand out against the weathered masonry behind it. 2 styles, 2 eras. The statue was carved from newer stone and erected by latecomers to this ancient fortress.
Anything standing out?
Okay, so now we'll move to investigation. Not liking these 19s early on in the live stream, chat.
Boulders and stone bricks of various sizes clutter the corridor, many split cleanly in 2. Yet some walls remain fully intact. No quake brought these rocks down. They were smashed through in an instant. Something big charged through here. Something very big.
What do you think?
And the last check here.
Several glassy stones stand out in the debris. Their borders are coated with tiny yellow crystals. The hottest of flames smoothed the stone and left sulfuric crystals behind. The fires of the hells have touched Grymforge.
Okay, so after you're done, you can report your observations.
Incredible. An entire history risen from dirt and debris. Picture it. An ancient city, hewn from the stone by disciples of Shah, later abandoned. Untold centuries later, a new tribe revives it. Fresh walls, fresh sculptures. Until a great hell beast charges through, toppling the walls and crushing the people. That explains the infernal plate I found. Perhaps you might have use of it. But my work has only begun. There is more still to find. I must get to it.
Okay, and we're gonna leave for just a second. You get another infernal iron from that.
Tells a story.
So that's why I said, for me, it doesn't matter at all that I got it. That's my third one. Because Karlach is not with us, right? And that's the use for the infernal iron. So, but for you, I'm sure Karlach probably is in your party. So this is a way to get another piece of infernal iron for her quest line.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
The past is nearer than we think. We simply must dig.
Okay, so now you can trade with
Let's see
Stonemason
what you've
Kith.
got.
So we're going to take this opportunity to clear out as much of our inventory as we can and see what he has in the way of spells and that sort of stuff. So we do want to pick up a potion of animal speaking. We want to have those active, one of those active at all times, basically. And looks like we've got some ale that we picked up by mistake. So we'll go ahead and get rid of some of these things. Let's see if we have... Yeah, let's get rid of some of the heavy weapons and armor first.
Keep your distance, darling.
Elminster's not around, so might as well.
Okay. Looks like we got a bunch of camp supplies that we need to get rid of. Once we get down to these, it's going to be easier just to click and drag these ones that have multiples. Whoops. I don't like how this thing adjusts itself like that. I don't know why it does it. Like that. Just randomly decides to restructure. So 326. He's got 314. Oh, no, he doesn't. We're fine selling all that.
What's next?
I was looking at that number. I wasn't connecting. It was going down while we were adding more stuff to it, so.
We're a long way from Waterdeep. Yes?
Okay, so what does he have here? I'm going to take the fire resistance. How many do we have? We've got 2. Yeah, we'll take all of those. And that should be good.
That's all then.
Okay, so need to send this all off to camp. Oh, there is another bowl in there that we neglected to sell.
The past is nearer than we think. We simply must dig. Well, let's see what you've got.
There.
That's all then.
Okay. So we are going to take a second here.
Salutations.
And this might be interesting.
Someone there?
Whoops. Looking spiffy, Astarion. Looking spiffy.
At least
All
things
right.
have stayed interesting.
So now we have Speak with Animals on.
With haste.
So we're going to head down this way.
Tired. Sleep. Rest, little one. But do not take long. I feel his shadow. I heard his name whispered. The rock shivers from the sound. The Ketheric Thorm.
Ketheric Thorm, a familiar name. Halsin mentioned his stronghold deep underground.
Mighty elf, cloaked in darkness. 10 masters ago, and 10 more. But I remember, there was the work, and the blood. There was the Thorm's army. There was the Hell Beast that broke them. The Ketheric Thorm's name faded into stone, until the Nere came. I outlived my mother, and her mother's mother, and many mothers beyond. Blessed to see many live, cursed to see many die. I saw tusks and flesh, smelled fire and eggs. It came with the mask men, crashing and smashing.
We're going to learn more about that line, the Hell Beasts and the mask men, a little bit later on here.
I know not, so I say not. Yet I hear his name again, said by the shadows.
Okay, you can talk to the other two as well.
Afraid of Thorm. Do not think on it further. Rest. I will see you safe.
Very well.
Oh, are those two still talking?
Okay, and now we can head down this way a little bit. There are some camp supplies you can pick up. If you are interested in getting into a fight with these two, you can engage them from up here, and you'll have the high ground the entire time. So, can be useful. You saw that in the Bard playthrough that we had a little bit earlier today.
Anything of use?
Okay, there's a journal here. Talks about an amulet that has power in it. And that's going to open up another quest for us.
As you look at the skeletons, you realize they are all clad in the same dark armor.
Dark Justiciar uniforms. These were Shah worshippers. The same as me.
Still, if whatever managed to murder a group of Sharrans is still around, we had better watch our step.
Okay, so we're picking up some Dark Justiciar items here. Oh, scroll a lightning bolt for Gale, that's nice. And we did pick up some Dark Justiciar mail, and we'll look at that here in just a second. Okay, so we do need to change her back to Wapira's crown. There it is. So the damaged Dark Justiciar mail is just a 13 armor class medium armor. The regular Dark Justiciar mail is a 13 armor class medium armor, which isn't that great. Scale mail +1 is 15 medium armor. But this has Nightsinger's reply, so when you're obscured by shadow, if you are hit with a melee attack, you deal 1d4 necrotic damage back to the attackers. It's like D&D version of Thorns, basically, where if you get hit, you cause damage in return if you were obscured by shadows. Since the Dark Justiciars, that's the queen of, or the goddess of the night, for Shar, they gain extra power when obscured by shadow. So, for role-playing purposes, it could be interesting. It does look pretty cool. I will give them that. But it isn't a great set of armor at all. Our armor class 17 without the shield, and 19, that would be an armor class 17 if we were using the Dark Justiciar mail. And having the luminous armor gives us the Radiant Shockwave perk, which we're going to be able to expand on a little bit more as we explore some here. Okay, so we need Astarion to pick into this chest.
Simple.
And in here, there's a light crossbow +1. However,
Not a Dwergar design. This crossbow is meant for a warrior of Shah.
if you send it to Shadowheart, she will understand that that is a Sharran crossbow. It is still a light crossbow +1, which means it is definitely not better than what we're currently using as far as having Feller of Monsters on it. But it is another role-playing type of thing for Shadowheart if you would like. And now we can continue on looting the rest of the stuff over here. Should just be some clothing, camp supplies, that sort of stuff sitting back here.
What's in here?
Okay, so we make our way down here. We have a book here. Again, talks about the fact that the Dwergar here are basically just drinking all the time to avoid work, or complain about work while they're drinking all the time. And then we can make our way down here. So there's a cragged rock we can climb down. Now here I'm gonna split the group. I'm not entirely sure if Astarion makes this on his own. He can. We're going to cast guidance.
Oh dear.
And the chest is trapped.
Someone's left a trap out for us.
Okay, so a higher DC here, but again, even without the Gloves of Thievery. Oh boy, all these 19s. It's not good, chat. A 36. And here you have the real Sparky Sparks wall. I'm going to explain this here in a second. And yeah, CK, you're right. This trap is one where if you're playing this without Astarion or without a character who has all the advantages to lockpicking, you definitely want to pick this chest or disarm this chest from the side here. So if you fail the disarm, it knocks you back here. Because if you are standing in front of this, you go bye-bye. And you go bye-bye a long, long, long way down. So, yeah, these areas, you need to be pretty careful if you do not have a character that is really spec'd to handle all of these higher DC traps and things like that. Luckily for me, Astarion is able to easily handle all of these. My personal playthrough, I have a Rogue Ranger combo as my main, and she's able to handle all these as well, so for me it's kind of second nature not to worry about it very much, but keep that in the back of your head. That's a good point, CK. Thanks for bringing it up. So now we're going to head over here, and I'm going to put everybody in hiding here, and I'm going to split my group, and I'm going to use my first short rest here.
Oh, lovely little pick-me-up.
And then I'm going to use a couple of potions to get my health all the way back up. Okay, so here there's a few different ways to play this encounter here. The one that I'm going for is going to lead to combat. And the combat is going to have an initiative roll, so I'm going to have, you know, just only a +1 compared to Astarion's +3 on initiative rolls. However, I'm not as worried about that. I want somebody who's got a high armor class to be able to avoid attacks as those attacks come in after this is done. So I also need somebody who has a decent chance at persuasion.
I have to keep going.
Trembling like what? Leaves, like on tree. You,
grab a cane and whip these droognin beasts into shape. That rubble needs clearing, and my patience is hanging on by an arse whisker. Shouldn't be trouble for a brute like you. Damn right I do. Getting cramps in my arm trying to whip the droognin beasts back to work. Now get to the caning, before I thrash you instead. You got no need to know, and I got no need to tell. So get to caning or to leaving.
Okay, so we have a perception, a persuasion, and an investigation check here. Obviously, much better at persuasion.
Fine. Look at this. Adamantine. Stuff's no joke. Stronger than steel, rarer than mithril. It ain't mined. It's made. There's an adamantine forge back there, sure as shitting. Don't get any smart ideas. That forge is clan property. But get the beasts moving and I'll toss some coin your way. Go on then. Light a fire under the buggers.
Okay, so I still don't speak with animals, so now I can speak with the deep Rothe here.
No more. No more pain, no more work. All must die.
And here you have another persuasion check here. This is the one that I'm going to go with. But you can go with any of them. In this one, you will start a combat immediately, and the Rothe will be on your side. Here, you will have them clear the rubble, and then you're going to get double-crossed, and the Rothe will be on your side. So that's the way I'm going to go.
All right. We will work. We will do as we're told. We will clear the way.
And while they go to work, move yourself back a little ways.
Not enough caning for my tastes, but you got the job done. I almost feel bad about this.
Okay, so he's going to double cross you. Okay, actually we rolled really well on initiative. And now the deep Rothe are on your side. They are fighting, and you have these three Dwergar to take out. Now, the good thing here is that they all start off facing the Rothe. So, we have 2 projectiles on our Eldritch Blast, and we have Repelling Blast on. So, these 2 here, we're going to move up a little bit. Okay, so we don't need a crit. We don't need a crit. Okay, so one of them got yeeted off the cliff. She's gone. This one's right here on the edge. But we're going to have this deep Rothe attack first. They have a shoving attack as well, so if he goes after Grundrel, maybe he will shove him off the edge. So now I can get my other party members into the fight, and I'm really going to be going after Herdmaster Skarial here. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. These openings in the floor, there's even little teeny tiny ones around here. Yeah, like right there. You can get shoved into those. So stay away from this whole area and don't position yourself near these or there or there, because it gets stupid. It really just gets stupid, being shoved into those little areas. So
Not a sound.
you can shove the other two off. You want to save Herdmaster Scaryall, though, and keep him up here. Okay, we're not going to use our Luck of the Far Realms. Astarion already has happy. I was just checking to make sure he had the happy trait already.
Need to keep focused.
Okay. I think I am just going to continue to focus on... Let me see if I can move Astarion back out of line of sight. Yes, I can.
Can't afford any
I
mistakes.
think I still am just going to focus on ranged attacks here. Again, I'm trying to minimize my spell usage. So 58%. 75% here. And with her high armor class, leaving her out here is fine.
Nothing will stand in my way.
And last is Gale.
It shall be done.
Now again, Gale has the Morning Frost equipped. So he has, again, unlimited uses of Ray of Frost and all of the chilling benefits and vulnerability to cold damage that goes along with it. An 80%er missed. And I want to move Gale back out of the line of sight again.
No choice but to keep going.
And I think we're good here. We'll let the Deep Rothe go.
Go for the throat.
Okay, so he missed. Just barely moved far enough to avoid getting shoved off. I don't care about counterspelling Hunter's Mark. If I take damage here, I take it. It's not that big a deal. Jeez. So we rolled a 17. And a 17. So I guess you can't complain against the about the high rolls. They are what they are. So we can move up here. We're going to have advantage on this attack because he's prone.
Blood follows me everywhere.
Okay. Why was I not asked? For Divine Smite damage? I do not know why I wasn't asked for that.
Hungry for the slaughter. Time for a new approach.
I didn't have to hide there. Okay.
Can't give up.
Okay, so we made a saving throw to keep Hunter's Mark active.
Gone with the weave.
He's rolling really well on those hits. Rolled a 15. With Hamstrung. I don't know if I'll be able to make it there or not. I can't. So rather than get any closer and get disadvantage on that, I'm just going to make a ranged attack. He's not threatened. So I need to hide to get sneak attack.
Make it hurt.
96%. Roll a 3.
Concentrate. Heading there.
Then you can talk to the Deep Rothe afterward.
Dwergar can't hurt anymore. We'll wait until it's safe to leave.
Okay, so now you can search the other two. There's nothing in particular that's useful on Grundrel there.
Can't slow down.
You can go search Herdmaster Scarial. And the adamantine slag, there doesn't seem to be any use that I can find in the game for it. But the rest of this, you can get ready to sell off.
Specs in that slag. Hardly worth the trouble of mining.
So here, this way here, you do not have to continue on into. It's not something that's necessary for the main part of the quest here. However, we are going to go in here and search these bodies. Okay, and sitting here is a devil foil mask.
Curious mask. What's it doing here? I've never seen anything like it.
That's interesting. I don't know if you get an Arcana check for everybody.
The air is ripe with magic.
No. It's whoever picks it up, and that's it. So, you get a devil foil mask. You're going to learn more about these and what they're all about as we progress through this area that we're about to be in. For now, don't have to worry about them.
Another step forward.
Now, since there's nobody else down here, you can take the time to steal from these crates if you'd like. There's no one down here to see you. So now that we've finished that, I'm going to head back this direction.
Gold accents aren't too tarnished yet. We might be able to chip them off and melt them.
See if he's got any more gold here that we can
The past is nearer than we
sell
think.
off some stuff.
We simply must dig. Well, let's see what you've got.
Whatever comes.
Okay, so we'll just quickly go through. And we're not going to use the Dark Justiciar Mail or the Sharran crossbow. I guess I can throw them in my camp chest just for roleplay purposes, but we're not going to use them.
That's all then.
Okay, and now we're going to continue on up these stairs over here. Now, there's another cragged rock here that leads down into this area. This area, again, is not an area that is needed to be completed for the main portion of the quest. So, I am going to save my action economy and not go down there yet. I will deal with this afterwards. Just as a hint, don't take this. I know it. I know you can steal it. Just don't. You have some other stuff up here that you can steal from, and you have this upper area up here with a walkway that leads you to a lower area here. Just remember this upper area here. It's going to become fairly important later on. It's not a trap star. It's just Mirthus here, for some reason, in my Bard playthrough, I picked this up while she was not watching. I walked away. She came back, somehow noticed it was missing, and while I was up here, right here, about to have a conversation with Elder Brithvar, she ran up the ramp and tried to arrest me and accuse me of stealing. I tried to pay her off, and the entire world turned hostile. Which is not how I wanted to play that out. It led to a huge 1 hour long combat encounter with every Dwergar in the world being angry at me. So this time I'm going to play it like I wanted to play it. And we'll go over here and talk to Elder Brithvar.
Seen her run with a barrel under her arm. Just a small one, but enough to blow the drow out. Someone should grab it.
Slaves are never gonna manage with pickaxes.
Can't go chasing maybes. The sergeants are ticket in.
Or would you look at that, Kerr? Someone's having a listen.
A shiver runs through you. Your mind is awash with ancient resentments.
True soul, no less. What do you think, Kerr? Should we take Nere's debt off him?
So here you want to have somebody that is high in persuasion. However, my guess is that I'm about to break my oath. I could be wrong, but I think I'm about to break my oath. Again, I don't care about my oath very much, but we'll see how this plays out. This is morally ambiguous from a Paladin standpoint, but as you can see from the fact that I have an Oath of Vengeance persuasion check down here, this might be somewhat in line with my oath. And I have not played this using this option here. So I'm not entirely... It sounds like this would be something I would want to do. Boy, that's actually a good point, because if I do it the normal way, I'm going to be lying. I think I actually am going to play it like this. This could go badly. Again. But I think I have a better chance maybe of keeping my oath if I do it this way. Let me see what we can do this way. I'm locked in now anyway.
Could be you're right. Something's different with you. In that case, want to earn some gold?
Okay, so that actually worked the same way the other perception check or the other persuasion checks do. If you go through this normally, he thinks you're a true soul. You have to convince him that you hate the true souls and that you are not a true soul. So you have to deceive him, and then he will offer you this option. So you have two dialogue choices you have to make. One of them has a deception check in it. Here, I guess, with Oath of Vengeance, it decided instead of making you do a deception check, it's going to just use the fact that he wants retribution against somebody, and that's right in the wheelhouse for an Oath of Vengeance Paladin. So I'm glad that option was in there and that it operated the way that it sounded like it was going to.
Thrinn's after the Absolute's glory. That's why she's got those slaves digging for Nere. But we ain't need glory, just coin. And Nere's got plenty. Help Thrinn free Nere. Then you and my chums grind him up. Whatever the spoils, we'll drop you a fat cut. You in?
Okay, so you do have an option here to also try and persuade him to give you more. It's a fairly easy DC on this. Perfect. I guess that's what I get for talking. I've got 4 inspirations, so I guess that was just me trying to say I need to use up one of my inspirations. Really, this was planned. Yeah, see, this is all planned, chat. What I'm really trying to do is, you know, you don't ever want to really keep yourself with 4 inspirations. You want to be able to have less than that so that when you earn more, you gain back up to that level 4. So that's what this is all planned. Really.
Half? You drugnin. Fine. Half it is, but first, we need to take care of something. You've seen that weird orbi floating about? Knife it. And don't get caught. The cult watches through it, and we can't risk more twat souls showing up. You still standing about? Get on it. Some days back, a slave gnome bolted with smoke powder. Handy stuff. Her crew know more than they're letting on. See if you can get him to talk. Now move. You're hogging my air.
Oh boy. Yeah. I love D&D. So, just going through the quick quests here, we have gotten some more information about the Dark Justiciars while we're here. We've learned about the Adamantine Forge from our time in the Underdark, and then we did get past the Rebel here by using the Deep Rothe to do it. Delivering Nere's head is part of the quest that was given to us by Sovereign Spa. We've kind of allied with some of the Dwargar here, and they're going to support us when the time comes to kill Nere. So now it's opened up, find the explosives. So a deep gnome fled with some smoke powder, her crew should know more, and then blind the Absolute. So to do this, we need to destroy the Scrying Eye, which is right here. You have to be careful when you do that, though. All right, so first what we're going to do is head in here and have a talk with Sergeant Thrinn. And you will notice something about Sergeant Thrinn. He doesn't have any boots on.
Faster! Heat up some rocks! Let's see how the little pricks do when we strap fire to their legs.
Charming. Hell is truly where we make it.
Move, Hoon! I don't have time for Drugnan outsiders. Poorly, obviously. Tunnel collapsed on a true soul. Absolute's going to eat my liver. Now move! I've got no time for...
The parasite stirs, but it's a mere tickle. You hear no thoughts or memories. Just an echo of scars that never healed.
A true soul, eh? Useless wreck of a lookout could have told me. Glad you're here to take responsibility. Tunnels collapsed. Trapped true soul Nere. He's stuck in there with poisoned geezers. We don't get him out soon, it's both our heads.
No need for that. Nere's is the only head that matters to us.
So, remember when we cured Thula of the poison, she gave us the Boots of Speed. Those boots, she said she took off of a Dwargar while she was trying to make her way out. You can give those boots back to Sergeant Thrinn here if you would like. We're obviously not going to do that. Everything that happens here, you know, she's going to end up on the bad side of things. Once she's dead, you can loot them back off of her if you would like. But this is really just a way to help the after story, or the encounter with Nere, basically. But yeah, we don't need to do this, so...
Place is older than bone dust. Previous tenants left a trap. Dropped a shit ton of metal once we dug a ways in. Get Nere out, and you'll have the Absolute's blessing. No doubting that. Entrance to an ancient temple. General's orders, Nere said. Must contain something important. He got me to recruit non-believers. But not everyone's seeing the Absolute's truth. They don't get paid soon. I'll have a riot on my hands. Not a one. Unless you count tacking aboleth fangs to my whipping cane.
Okay, so you can continue this on because we already have some explosive powder in our inventory.
Thought you would. True souls don't abandon their own.
So the whole thing here is leading to the fact that we need some explosives to clear this cave-in to let Nere out. And the fact that there is a gnome with some smoke powder, which could clear this, is kind of where this is going. So Nere is in here, that's why the quest marker is on him. Free True Soul Nere has put the explosives here at the cave-in. The Deep Forge Gnomes are sitting here, they're the ones digging in front of this. And the Scrying Eye is right here right now. You can see there's another quest marker out here. That this takes us back to the mountain pass. Okay? So there's also another quest marker here for Help the Spirit of the Amulet. This is that amulet quest that we picked up from the journal. So the whole thing here, the thing that's going to follow up more is once we click on this. We're going to talk to the gnomes here first, and who do you know is sitting right here? Barkus Root is the gnome that we rescued from the windmill in the Blighted Village.
Ah, it's you. The mascot of my ill fortunes. Much as I'd love to chat, I'm not allowed social breaks. These brutes are no mere goblins. I doubt you could take them on. You will. If you are successful, that would be most convenient.
You pricks.
Gnomes speak in soft whispers, the words all but lost in the hot air.
Okay, so you can have a perception check here. 50-50 shot. A little bit less than 50-50 now.
I'll never get through. We need that smoke powder. Philommene's gone, and if she's smart, she won't be coming back. Tell the sergeant where she went. Beltron's still trapped with that maniac Nere. Forget the smoke powder. They kill Phil on the spot. I won't let you do it.
Okay, since we've already met Thula here, we can start with this option.
Glittering gods. She actually survived.
Praise Ironhand. Larida, our prayers are answered. Sir, our friends are trapped in the cave-in. And I know a way to get them out.
Bug, please. True Soul Nere will... You know what he'll do. Lunkbug, don't!
I've got no choice, Larida. We have to chance it. A few days back, there was a scene. Our friend Philomene, she's a sapper, set off a blast and ran off. We set a spot for hiding if someone found trouble. I'll mark your map. If Philomene made it, you'll find her there. She'll have the stuff to blow that tunnel wide open and get Beldron and the rest out.
Okay, now you can again, since we have some of this already in our inventory, we can go this way.
Please, please don't hurt my Phil. I beg you.
Hurry! Our people won't last in that cave-in forever.
Okay, and now we have another quest marker for finding the Deep Gnome's hiding spot. Those doors that we entered here, that we found the button on the wall here and entered into, that is the route to take you up to Philomene's hideout. Normally, that's where you would need to be going now to retrieve the smoke powder to bring it back here to blow open the cave. However, there is some combat in here to deal with, and it's not a very fun combat either. So getting in there and getting out with it means you need to use some of your action economy to do that. We actually don't have to do that. And that's because we've kept smoke powder satchels and or smoke powder bombs in our inventory. These are what you're going to use. There's a special type of smoke powder called rune powder, which is what Philomene has, that you're supposed to get that from her and bring it back here, but any old smoke powder will work. And that's why I've been carrying these around, is because I can utilize them not just to cause a lot of damage, but I can use these in this particular location without having to go to Philomene first and spend some of my spells and action economy in the combat to get there. Right? I want to save all of my spells and action economy for this encounter here. But first, I'm going to look at the Cavein.
Near the rubble, a fragmented voice clutches at your mind.
The true soul. True soul. Finally, you must clear rubble, spilling poison. Expedition. Passage trapped. Gnomes useless. Don't trust mercs. Get me out.
View through Nere's eyes is a blur. You only make out a bit of rubble and few moving figures.
Okay, so you have a perception check here. Again, a little bit less than a 50-50 shot.
The blur resolves into an image. Two gnomes feverishly removing debris, while two others lie dead at Nere's feet, their flesh scorched by powerful magic. You sense Nere's frustration, tinged with rage, as the connection fades.
Okay, so here we are, ready for this encounter. However, you certainly do not want to be here. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of move ourselves, pre-position ourselves to get ready for this. Oh, actually we're not. We're going to go take out the scrying eye first. And to do that, we're going to move out here. I'm actually going to break my group over here. Just take Astarion with me. And the scrying eye will make its way out here.
But we got nothing to lose. It all goes to plan, and our asses get
Eventually, unless it tried to follow me. Yeah, it might have tried to follow me.
The slowest of you lot.
Yep, there it is right there. So it's coming back. It's right here. It's on a predetermined patrol path. And that predetermined patrol path is going to take it not here. Well, for now, it's going to take it down here, but this isn't where I want to take it. If you get in its sight, it will follow you. Otherwise, it's going to take a predetermined path. So I'm going to drag it down here. And you see it's following along. Okay, and now I'm going to enter into turn-based mode here. Okay, so here's the scrying eye. The scrying eye has 360-degree detection cone around it. Oh, I'm just barely short here. Thought I caught it a little bit. I guess I caught it a little bit too early.
What brought it down, you think?
A quake of some sort?
Okay, so there it is. So yes, I can get it here, so... Make sure, yeah, I've got enough. So I'm gonna move out to here.
Move unseen.
And now I'm gonna sneak attack it. Easy enough. And down here, there's no other Dwergar around to see it. So now I'm fine. It's normal patrol condition if you don't have it following you, like I did. It will normally patrol all the way down here anyway. So all you have to do is come down here and wait for it, and it will eventually make its way down here. It will also make its way down into here. So you can stay on the high ground up here and get additional range to shoot it while it's down here as well. Let's see. Dana doesn't care. Dana doesn't go down that far. She comes to here, and she comes to here, and that's the extent of her patrol route.
Then I'll stick Nere up, down, and sideways till he's more whole than flesh.
Okay, so now we have blinded the Absolute. So we've completed our part of the deal here. We do need to find Philomene with the explosives, but we don't actually have to do that at this point yet. We can complete that quest afterwards. Oops, so we need to head back over here to the rest of our party.
Still alive, so that's perfect.
And now we'll get pre-positioned for this.
Very well.
So we're going to set ourselves, for the most part, right here. I drag everybody a little bit farther down. Yes. Now I'm going to hide everybody and break the group.
Let's move.
I'm debating on where I want to go with this afterwards. Yeah, I'm going to take Astarion. And I'm going to give him the smoke powder satchel.
You better hope your little tricks didn't harm the true soul!
We can throw this.
Falls like potatoes if you don't move! And you better hope
something different.
And when you throw it, everyone backs away. Okay? Now, what's going to happen here is fairly carefully scripted as far as the game coding is concerned. It used to be fairly easy to just completely run away from this. In other words, you'd ignite the smoke powder and then you just run away. And this encounter would kind of pause itself. And you could start the combat in any way you wanted. There were also some glitches with that, with people getting caught on fire and everybody turning hostile and everything else. For the most part, they fixed all of that in the full version. So I'm going to leave Astarion out here to immediately get into a conversation with Nere when he walks out of here. However, I'm going to end up taking Astarion here after I'm done with it. So I kind of want to pre-position him somewhere in this area when that conversation starts. So hopefully he rolls well on initiative and I can get him up this ladder to the high ground when that happens. So for now I'm just going to kind of move him back here a little bit. Going to use my hand crossbow and I'm going to use an arrow of fire to ignite the smoke powder satchel.
Can you hear me?
Okay, there's a flame surface here, and this, when he would run through it, would sometime catch him on fire, and everybody would go hostile, but now they've got it timed a little bit. So now Nere's going to come walking out of here.
You toil.
Finally. Worthless slaves. Your incompetence has been my ruin.
Nere does not fail.
Okay, I'm assuming that the Paladin option here would do the exact same thing as what I'm trying to get to, but this is the option that I'm going to choose.
You care for the weak, true soul. Most curious.
Okay, now as far as this goes, it doesn't matter as much.
You heed an overgrown toadstool, yet defy a true soul. Thrinn, carve out his heart and serve it to the Rothe. If he indeed is a true soul, let the Absolute save him.
Okay, and here is an additional option that is only available if you talked to Brithvar and made your deal beforehand.
Damn right it's time. You owe my crew a 10 days' worth of coin, Nere, and the reckoning's come.
You bargained with this wretch. How vexing. Nere is not without mercy, true soul. The rat has given you a chance to earn my favor. Strike him down. Prove your faith.
Heretics. Let Nere be your end.
Okay, so I rolled well on initiative, which is exactly what I wanted. I should have moved a bit farther over so I could avoid the attacks of opportunity here. But what I'm going to do is click heals. Again, this is going to give me dash, and they're going to have disadvantage on their attacks of opportunity here. I could also use my action to go invisible, using Shrouded in Shadow, and then dash and make my way out of it, and that's now that I think about it, probably a better way to go about this. I don't necessarily need my action here at this particular point. So let's cunning action dash. Then we're going to use the Shrouded in Shadow class ability. Okay, just took a while to work. Now I'm going to make my way up here. And take the high ground. Now I don't care about draw yet. Because draw is going to become my plaything here. So let's go and move Gale out of the way first.
Don't mind me.
Okay, now you have to be careful moving up here. Because Mirthus is patrolling up here.
Have to keep going.
Okay. So now we are up behind drawer here. Shove is a bonus action for us here. And what we're going to do to kind of start this off is, and we don't have to use shove, we can back up a little bit and use our Eldritch Blast to do the same, try and do the same thing. What is our to hit? This is going to have disadvantage because it's too close. Yeah. So if I do move back a little bit, the detection cones get a little wonky back here. So I'm taking a bit of a chance moving back here. So it's 99% chance to hit. 2 of them. He's going to have a strength saving throw to avoid it. Don't need Luck of the Far Realms here. Okay.
The mission has to come
Now,
first.
one of the things to remember here is that you don't want to stay grouped completely up while you're up here. Now, Mirthus is going to become a problem when you're trying to do that, because even though her detection cone is way down, way down here, she can see a lot farther up this ramp. So when you are in combat and you're not in hiding, she can see you from a lot farther away. Now, I want to get Gale up here.
Less traveled.
Because Gale is going to be the next one I bring into combat. Okay. And now, with Gale, I have some options. So, Cloud of Daggers here at the base of the ladder is always a solid thing to do, as long as you position it so that you don't hit Barkus. And sometimes the radius on Cloud of Daggers is a little strange. So I tend not to do it. Now, Fireball is great, but again, you have to position it correctly so that you don't hit any of the gnomes or any of your friendlies, so to speak. So positioning it, something like here and that sort of stuff can work, or positioning it way up here can work. So you kind of just have to be careful with the AoE here. Now, the people that are you need to worry about are Dalthar here. Dalthar here has ranged poison crossbow attacks as well as Hunter's Mark. Hit really hard from range. You also have to worry about...
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
The two Mind Masters, Dunol and Funmara. They will cast a mind control on you, which will take control of one of your characters for one turn. And that can be really bad if, for instance, you know, your Paladin gets controlled and they come Divine Smite nuke you. So you need to focus them while you're going through this. The other's Corsair Greymon is going to... And... Yeah, just Corsair Greymon right now are your fighter / barbarian types. They will enlarge themselves to get extra damage and come up and try and melee you in the face. So, but remember, we do have some friends down here. We have 3 allies down here with us. So let's try and focus out some damage here. And I'm actually not nearly as worried about Nere in this encounter as I am some of the other people who are standing out here. I do want to focus the 2 Mind Masters, though. Oh, something else to remember is their resistances here. So they're resistant to poison damage. They have dwarven resistance because of it. So, and they also have advantage on charmed or paralyzed saving throws. So keep that in mind while you're going through this with them. But let's focus these 2 here.
Can't afford to stay idle.
And last is Shadowheart. So 20 and 10. So let's try and get rid of this Mind Master here entirely.
Let me strike true.
Okay. Alright, so Astarion's turn is done. Thrinn is very likely to try and push somebody off. So poison spray on Gale. 2d12 poison. How many? I don't... So fireball was 1, so this would be my last 3rd level spell. Is to counterspell this. I don't think I need to counterspell it. I'll just take the damage. Okay, he saved. Poison spray again. Saved again. Gale, you the man. Alright, now one of the advantages of having the high ground comes into play here.
Time to press ahead.
Okay, so she saved against it. Again, not too worried though. Anybody? I don't think anybody else even has room to climb up the ladder with Thrinn being there. And she now gets to go after somebody who's got a high armor class. Don't care about counterspelling that. What I worry about is one of them throwing a smoke powder bomb up here and hitting all four of us at the same time. So, Wicked Coercion. Who's it going on? Elder Brithvar? That could be bad. I'm going to counterspell that. Here we go with the poison crossbow shots. So now Brithvar can get in on the fight. Having him switch sides would have been bad. Throwing javelins. Okay. So Gale just has his bonus action left, so I'm just going to move him back out of sight. And again, I don't want to move very far down this way. I want to move more back this way. Thrinn's up here. I'm going to have more shots to deal with Thrinn before she gets a turn.
Need to stay focused.
Okay, so I'm going to actually move Shadowheart up here to completely block Thrinn in. She might be able to move around this side. But I want to completely block her in here if I can. So she would have to move to set it there. She can't see down here. Oh, yes she can right here. Okay. And again, she has a high armor class, so hopefully I can avoid ranged attacks with her. Okay, so who is left here? Oh, that's weird. Shows he's dead. He's just standing up. So both Mind Masters are dead, which is great. %, missed. Rolled a 2. Always nice. Okay, so here I can get sneak attacks on Nere now. But if I move there, am I going to generate attack of opportunity when I leave? I don't think so. Nere's threatened. So this should work. I am going to use my Luck of the Far Realms here. Get a crit, add sneak attack crit to it. And now I'm going to move him. Actually, I'll get my offhand attack as well. And Bane him. And now I'm going to move back out of the way. Ooh. They're throwing out some damage. Okay, so let's go ahead and just nuke Thrinn. So we're going to throw in Inquisitor's Might here. Now, just making sure it's on ask for all my Divine Smites. I love this game. I rolled a 2. Oh, well, I guess the bright side is it doesn't use up a Divine Smite. So stupid.
Heretic! You should never have come. Strike me and suffer.
%25 chance, that's not even worth taking. I do have a 70% chance to lower armor class, but that was not a problem. I should have hit last time. Can she see Nere from up here? She can, but she's threatened, so she's got disadvantage. I could drop a glyph of warding down here. But that would be kind of iffy with Brithvar down here, right there as well. So I think I am just going to drop a corrosive strike here. Okay. So, alright, so I'm not even in the acid pool, either one of us, so that worked out well. So let's heal up. This would be the time, the one time when I would love to have the melee version of that.
Battle of wits.
Okay, so now I'll move Gale back up.
Swiftly now.
So Nere has Shield of Screams. Now, is it ranged based as well? No, it's melee based only. So what can I get with a Scorching Ray? So 75% chance to hit. I'll take that. And then I'll move him back. They're just wailing on each other. They're just standing toe to toe and just wailing on each other. And that's the other good thing about it, is that your conjured weapons are immune to psychic damage, so.
Yes, here.
I'm relying on you, Dorval, to be able to take Thrinn out. So now that Nere's threatened, I get sneak attack damage without being hidden. Whoops. Offhand ranged. Nere is now gone. Move Astarion back. Okay. Now. Please. Please. Okay, so I should still have Inquisitor's Might for one more turn, yes. So 95% chance to hit. I guess I could throw Hex on this as well, right? Using my bonus action. And Hex her strength. And now, let's go. Okay, so I will roll a crit here. And no, that's not 80. It looked like it was 80, but it was not. It was not 80. It was a big number though. So hit for 30 on the crit plus 4 radiant damage from Inquisitor's Might, and then plus 8 necrotic damage from Hex. So nuclear bomb going off. So we've got 2 left. No, just 1 left down here. Corsair Greymon, so yeah, I'll move back behind him, why not? And let's not get up right behind him.
Don't waste a step.
Focus.
Okay, now the question is, can Shadowheart see him from up here? I thought I saw like 1 pixel. Maybe not. No, it doesn't look like she can. Just move her out of the acid puddle. Great, thank you. Appreciate that. Always fun to see it.
One can't always be a gentleman. Certainly.
Let's go ahead and chill him. Okay, yeah, he's chilled now from that. So his movement speed's reduced, but he's also chilled. So now he's taking double damage from cold if he survives that long. Okay, so he's not going down without a fight. This doesn't matter. Okay, it just took a while to do it. I'm gonna leave Astarion up here, actually. And come to think of it, I'm going to move over here next to
I need to find a way forward.
Elder Brithvar. Just for now. Not too worried about him dying. He's got 1 hit point left or something. Yeah. Yeah, and then I say that. And then I say that. Nope. When you absolutely, positively have to guarantee a hit.
Another shindig. Adilrin's shithouse. You see it? Cockstench had a wriggler in his skull. All the more reason to clear out. Here's your cut. Extra too, like I promised. Clan, grab your gear, wipe your asses. Time I scrammed before more pricks from Moonrise Towers move in.
Now, here's where you have the option to inquire about the gnomes.
Clan property. They come with us.
The gnomes should be able to go where they please. They are not the Dwergars to keep.
Okay, so you have some options here. Intimidation option and the persuasion option. I have a slightly better advantage in the persuasion option. It's just a regular DC. But you don't want to fail it.
You got a point. Likely to be all hobbled up, what with the lashings. Gnome pricks! You're off the hook! Scram before I get my senses! Your brain going mushy, Shark. That's where those absolute freaks hole up. Goblins, drow, gnolls, even humans. Ain't no one they won't try to turn. The way I hear tell, some prick there calls the shots. The General, Nere called him. And there ain't no way I'm sticking around long enough to meet him.
Okay, be sure not to click this. Just click leave. And you get a big hunk of experience to go with it. Now, the Dwergar stick around. And some of the bodies of the Dwergar that they turned on, you can search without a problem. Nere, you cannot do that with. If you click on Nere, you're going to be accused, and you take something from his inventory, you're going to be accused of stealing, and you're going to have a fight on your hands. Okay? So, the easiest thing to do here is to talk to Baldur.
Beldron! I was so worried. Did Nere hurt you?
No, I'm all right. Did the sergeant hurt you?
Oh, who cares? We're together now, thank Iron Hand.
We ought to thank someone a little closer by, I think.
Gaedel Iron Hand you may not be, but you damn well fight like him.
I'm grateful, don't mistake me, but why help us? You're one of them, aren't you?
And actually, I want to see if I can go talk to somebody else or if we're all locked into this conversation. Okay, I might, because Astarion was far away, he's not in this conversation.
Don't linger.
I don't know if walking by is going to drop him into the conversation or not. But we'll see. I forgot I wanted to talk to somebody else first. I wanted to talk to Barcus first. Because I don't know what happens to Barcus once all the gnomes decide to take off. So, where did he go?
It's not right.
There he is.
Not right.
And again, I don't know if getting close to this conversation will drag Astarion into it and lock him up. And it looks like I can't have another conversation with Barkus. He might be in that conversation now. Yes, he's kind of locked in here. It looks like he's standing in this.
Glittering gods! I should have known that one was too damn stubborn to die. Here. The Iron Hand Gnomes honor their debts. With Wulbren gone, that falls to me.
Make it quick. We need to find Wulbren. Now!
You're a little late, Barkus, my lad. He's already been sent to Moonrise Towers. We were just slave hands to the cult, but not Wulbren. He knows things. Things they want to know, too.
What has he gotten himself mixed up in now?
Let's try the persuasion option here. I haven't had this conversation with Barkus in this particular one. I've always done it separate, so these options are new.
You'll call me mad, but fine. Wulbren's found the formula for rune powder.
What?
Aye. The explosive of Gaerdel Ironhand's own creation. Fistfuls, wiping out armies. All those old stories. Only Wulbren couldn't leave the stories be, so he went and bloody found it. A small supply, tucked away down here with a manuscript. He just made sense of the formula when the cult jumped us, so he burned the damn thing. If there's a single copy left, it's sitting in his head. Those absolutists pull it out and make rune powder, they could flatten the whole of the Sword Coast. You really would, wouldn't you? But not us. My people can barely stand, and we have business back in the city. That business is what sent us after the powder to begin with. Now, we'll have to make other arrangements.
And just like that, you'd leave Wulbren behind. I knew you lot were foolish, but I didn't know you were cruel.
If you knew half as much as you think, my lad, Wulbren might have kept you around.
And neither will this twit, apparently.
My people will find somewhere to regroup across the lake. Then, onto the city. If you find yourself in Baldur's Gate, seek us out. We'll raise a glass to Wulbren together.
I'm hoping I get a conversation with Barkus here.
I'm so sorry.
Well, you did it. Nothing good happens in the Underdark. As you know, some of the Iron Hand Gnomes, my friend Wulbren among them, have been taken prisoner in Moonrise Towers. They're not even going after him. I wish I were surprised. And so, to Moonrise Towers I go. Certainly not. In case you haven't been paying attention, my friend has been taken captive. He needs me. Ha! I was unlucky twice. The odds of it happening again are very slim. Then again, a small rest might be prudent. Give me time to think. Fine. Show me where to go, and I'll try my luck. I'll have a better chance of rescuing Wulbren if I'm at my best. And, thank you.
Okay, so now Barkus is going to take off. The gnomes are going to take off when you have a long rest. And now, again, we can loot the dead bodies that are not marked as steel, if we would like. And I believe... So let's go loot a couple of bodies here real quick first.
Did they suffer? It was over in the flesh. They're at peace now.
And just be careful when you're clicking around.
Could have been you. I can't bear to think about it.
You don't need to. We're together. That's what matters. What's inside?
That you're not clicking on something that's stealing. Okay, now... Corsair Grayman here. This is a very important body to loot. Because of what's being held here. So, the first is the Bow of the Banshee. Now, for a short bow, with 1d6 damage, it is +1, but you think, well, crossbows do more than that. However, the trait on the Bow of the Banshee is what makes this bow so good. Just like with the one of the crossbows that allows you to bane a target at range by hitting them, this allows you to frighten a target from range. And we all know how important the frighten condition is. You can't move. The frightened enemies have disadvantage on all ability checks and future attack rolls. Being able to frighten somebody at range while still causing ranged damage with them is incredibly useful. If you combine that with, say, I don't know, the Gloves of Power, and being able to frighten and bane a target from range, this thing can do really well for a debuffing bow. And that's one of the great things about the bow itself. So we're going to take a look at that. Jorgeral's Greatsword is interesting when you look at it, and then it's just a +1 greatsword. So what's so special about it? Well, what's special is the proficiency unlock here called Colossal Onslaught. So with this, you are able to do 9 to 16 damage in a line of targets in front of you, very similar to what Lightning Bolt does. You're able to line up enemies, position yourself correctly, and then use this to cause damage to multiple targets in a line. Again, for the situational and once per short rest type nature of the Greatsword, it's interesting, but it's not something that is going to really end up comparing with something that does consistent damage over and over and over again. So that's why it's not something I'm going to be focused on. The last is the Staver of Skulls. Now the Staver of Skulls, when you look at it as a light hammer, that's a 1d4 damage dealing weapon. However, the bonus here is that it always does 1d4 radiant damage. So it basically turns it into a 2d4 weapon, not just a 1d4. And for certain things that cause radiant damage, this can proc other things that go along with it. And for instance, Shadowheart is wearing the luminous armor, that whenever you deal radiant damage, it causes the radiant shockwave, which inflicts a radiating orb on anything in a 3-meter radius. So she doesn't just now have to to rely on a spell to do her radiant damage, she can also do that at melee range, where her ranged spells like Sacred Flame or Guiding Bolt are going to be at a disadvantage because they're too close to a target. So the other thing about it is that when she compares it to the Corrosive Flail that she's using right now, the Corrosive Flail is 1d8 plus 2. This now is basically 2d4 plus 2. So it's got one more minimum damage on it, plus it's going to proc the Radiating Orb trait of her armor. So at this point, what you're giving up is the corrosive damage attack that comes with the proficiency unlock here, the Corrosive Strike, which does an additional 3 acid damage. However, I think I'm willing to give that up to be able to proc her Luminous Armor Radiant Shockwave more often. So that is an incredibly useful body to loot. Now, you can get these weapons earlier than this if you chose to fight Horsar Grayman on the skiff while you were crossing the lake. These items will be in a chest on his skiff. So if you took that fight and you didn't knock him into the water, well, I guess even if you did, it doesn't matter. These items are going to be available to you on his skiff, and you can get them earlier. We chose to let him just come along with us and escort us in, and he went up here to meet with everybody after that was done. So we're able to pick up the items a little bit later, but we didn't lose out on them. So last, I think, is that all of the dead bodies? No, we have Mindmaster Dunmore, who's still standing up over here. And I think that's it. So, bunch of other stuff that's marked as save here.
Looking ahead.
And we have finished talking to the gnomes. And we've finished our dealings with... I think we probably want to talk to Elder Brithvar here.
Wait. Is that a bruise? I got big plans for us. Ain't no one stopping Clan Flameshade.
Okay, so let me see if I can...
I got big plans for us.
Okay, so he's not. He's just got an incorrect icon.
Flameshade.
He's marked as a vendor here, but he's not.
Damn drought.
So now to clear up this entire area, we're going to take a long rest. Let's do one other thing first and see how close are we. 380, 280. So yeah, 280 to 390, give or take, on XP. So we're going to take a long rest here.
You carry a Githyanki relic. I will have an explanation. Or your head.
Walk away. Now. I won't warn you again.
Ooh, cat fight. My money's on Shadowheart. What about y'all? Anybody in the chat want to play some bets?
That artifact is an heirloom of my people. Likely she spilled Githyanki blood in order to steal it. This cannot stand.
Heirloom? Plunder from some conquered realm, more like. This artifact is the only thing keeping us from becoming slaves to our parasites. Be glad I have it. Lae'zel thinks I have something important to her people. She's deluded, clear.
Lies. She carries an heirloom of my people. I must know why. Incorrect. Judicious bloodletting settles feuds and roots out the weak.
the deceitful.
Do you hear this, tribe? Our lives are at stake, and she wants us to turn on each other.
No others. Just you and me.
I doubt this one's wits will be any sharper by then.
I do not wish to spill blood here. Come daylight, we will find a place to end this.
Fine. You can accept you're wrong, or we'll be rid of you permanently. Either way, I win. You had every chance to look the other way, but here we are. You chose this.
Spare me the justifications, coward!
If anyone asks, I'll say you were transforming. Don't expect to be mourned.
Okay, so we do have an intimidation option here, but we also have persuasion.
She's a liability. It's the artifact we need, not her.
Let me up, and I'll show you.
Can I do that, Lae'zel? Can I turn my back on you?
Never. Thieves aren't afforded such luxury.
Loosen the grip on your pride for one blasted moment, won't you? We needn't be enemies. There's plenty of those to go around already.
What would you have? That we be friends?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But imagine what we might achieve if we channeled some of that hostility back at our real foes, instead of each other. They wouldn't stand a chance.
Okay. Interesting. So let's go around and have some quick conversations. And remember, Barkus is in our camp now. So we have rested fully. So I'm going to... get that going, and no, I had Gale cast it last time, but I think I want Astarion to cast it this time.
Well, hello.
No, I don't, because it's going to be, he's going to get rid of it when he casts when he casts guidance.
I have power enough to share.
Okay, that's why I had it on Gale. We also picked up the real Sparky Sparks wall. And this is what I mentioned earlier for your lightning charge builds. The real Sparky Sparks wall is another one of those. Now, I don't have anybody who's focused on lightning charges in particular in this build or in this playthrough. But for this, when you have lightning charges, you can take 3 of those and release an AoE blast of electricity that also jolts enemies that are caught in that 6-meter radius. And jolted enemies take 1d4 lightning damage per turn, and they can't take reactions. Now, the lightning aura lasts for 3 turns, so you can think of it kind of like a poor man's version of the electrostatic shock aura that we got from during the Bernard fight. This is just a less damage and less radius, but it does the same type of thing. Okay, not being able to take reactions is really nice, especially for a spellcaster. In my personal playthrough, Gale got surrounded by some enemies that were focused on him. He's lightning charge based, so he used up some of them to jolt them all and was able to walk out without taking any attacks of opportunity because they couldn't take any reactions against him. So it can be situationally very useful for a spell or for a shield, but really at the end of the day, only situationally useful, I would say. And I think that was the only thing that we picked up that we didn't talk about. Yes.
Let's move.
Okay, so let's go have our conversations real quick and see if there's anything we need to pick up on.
I'll say one thing for our troop. We're not short on drama. I'm glad Shadowheart and Lae'zel settled their differences peacefully. Eventually.
Hey, nothing new for Gale. We'll wait and talk to Lae'zel.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, I really thought Shadowheart and Lae'zel might fight to the death over that artifact. A pity. It would have made for a fine night's entertainment.
Always the funny guy, Astarion. Okay, I think everybody else is down here. Yep.
I hope that's the end of this silly quarrel. They'll have no energy for battling our enemies if Lae'zel and Shadowheart are too busy squabbling among themselves.
And I don't think we have anything new from Halsin.
You wish to speak?
Oh, we didn't go through any of his conversations.
I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say. Impressive. Most would quake at the mere thought of delving that far into the Underdark. What did you find? Keep looking. If they're present, then it's likely there's a route to Moonrise somewhere. It may prove impossible to avoid the Shadow Curse entirely, but if you find any way to limit your exposure, seize it. Those illithid creatures threaten the natural order. It's my duty to do what I can to stop them. There's also the Shadow Curse. It's an affront and must be cleansed. I helped overthrow Ketheric Thorm and his Dark Justiciars years ago, but I failed to prevent him from unleashing darkness across the region before he was defeated. If I can join you and get close to Moonrise, perhaps I can lift this curse, just as you find a cure for your infection. Well, there's hardly anyone left to share the responsibility with. Few who witnessed the fall of Moonrise still draw breath. What Ketheric Thorm unleashed is not something that nature can undo by itself. I must do what I can. I studied the Shadow Curse for years, but to truly understand it and stop it, I must reach its source. Perhaps. But we'll need to get closer before I can put my theory into practice. Put it from your mind for now. Once we near the curse, then there will be more to be said. Precisely. Then perhaps I could have done something about both the Shadow Curse and Ceremorphosis aberrations. But in my eagerness, I put far too much faith in the abilities of Aradin and his band. We didn't even get close. Wonderfully. If I'm honest, the grove was too comfortable for my tastes. I felt removed from nature. I'll miss my books, but I can find all the wisdom they contain out here, firsthand. Is that so? Well, nature does abhor waste. I will keep watch, thank you. I had a feeling time in your company would prove fruitful.
Okay, so let's talk to Shadowheart here.
I don't think there'll be any more trouble between Lae'zel and I, if you were wondering. We can all sleep easier now. Well, apart from all the rest. Relax. We'll kiss and make up on our own time. Someone prodding at a newly opened wound doesn't help matters. Pain is the gauntlet that all who love Lady Shah must endure. Only her embrace can truly heal me. To try and salve myself would do nothing but shame me in the Night Singer's eyes.
Persuasion's options much better. No bonuses, because Astarion's not too near and she won't allow you to use guidance against her.
Perhaps you're right. But there's little we can do about it just now. Maybe a way will present itself in time if Lady Shah wills it.
Okay, I think that's it.
Very serious of you. But go ahead.
Yep. So all done with Shadowheart, we'll go up and talk to Lae'zel.
I'm not yours. You are not mine. Or so I've come to believe. I can withstand most any wound, but one tainted by her shadow, it will take time to heal.
Okay, so I guess this is a choice here between the two. We did have a fairly intense one-night stand kind of thing with Lae'zel, but she's insatiable. So, probably don't want to go this way.
Yes, I'm sure you see it that way. You are Shakfonash Dew, source of my bruises. The wounds you inflicted will heal, but they will leave behind scars.
Okay, so now we'll go over here and talk to Barkus.
I thank you for the invitation to your camp. It's, well appointed, not too crowded, perfect for thinking, and I've been doing just that. It's about Wulbren. We know he's been taken to Moonrise Towers, and we know I'm going to save him. The problem is this: a preponderance of evidence that I am a terrible adventurer. I'm not sure I should trust Wulbren's fate to, well, me. You've done so much already. I'm hesitant to prevail upon you again. But I can't risk recapture. I barely escaped last time. You'd do it then. You'd look for him. That's very decent of you. Thank you. There's something else you should know. Something I can no longer ignore. I know you've learned about the Gnomes' pursuit of rune powder, but do you know what it truly is? Until very recently, I thought rune powder was a myth. A substance so powerful it could fell a city. A nation. The Iron Hand Gnomes have proven the impossible. Rune powder is real, and they have it in their possession. Destruction. The only thing it's good for. But destruction of what? Well, I'm hoping Wulbren will be able to tell us. I shouldn't have let him drift away. Shouldn't have let that lot get their claws into him. Now more than ever, I need to find him. We need to find him. He's the only one I might be able to speak to sensibly. I'd kiss you, but neither of us deserve that. Thank you. Like what? Alchemist, tinkerer, adventurer, curmudgeon. I wear many hats, most with great enthusiasm. Thank you for noticing. Barkus Root is my name. Baldur's Gate is my home. Back in the city, I offered my expertise to the highest bidder. I was quite popular, too. I'm not picky about my customers. I suppose I'd be very, very sad. Then, after a while, I'd find whoever killed him and put a smoke powder bomb in their trousers.
Okay, so we've learned a bit about the rune powder that is a central part of our remaining quest here for Rescue Wulbren. Remember the find explosives. We cleared the Cavein. We didn't have to go find Philomene or anything like that, but she has a rune powder barrel, and the gnomes might not be up to the greatest of purposes with it. There's some lore involved in the Forgotten Realms with the Iron Hand gnomes that might come into play with this a little bit as well. The Iron Hand gnomes are also a group that advocates for equal treatment for gnomes throughout the Forgotten Realms, and they believe that gnomes have been persecuted by the other races for a very long time. So there might also be some revenge lore kind of involved in some of this as well. But again, more to figure out as we explore that. The last thing we always want to do before we leave is pet Scratch.
Hope you're keeping well, friend.
Always pet the goodest boy before you leave. And now when you get back here into this location, Nere is still marked as steal, but there's nobody else around to watch you steal from him.
The decaying corpse lies before you.
Actually, before we do that, so Philip, you asked,
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Mercenaries. Absolute unites. Moonrise towers. Safe passage. Moon lantern. Drider. Find path to temple. Orders of general. General's necromancer. Balthazar.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
The reason I backed out is because I'm not entirely sure what happens if you try and speak to the dead with Nere if he no longer has a head.
Can't give up now.
The decaying corpse lies before you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Watch me fail this.
The head breaks off cleanly from the drow's body.
Okay, so yeah, and that's my bet too, Philip. I'm not entirely sure if I'd have been able to talk to him after I cut his head off. That's kind of why I backed out of it. So the first thing, we obviously have another Mind Flayer Parasite specimen, which you do want to pick up. We have the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. These are a straight upgrade for another pair of boots that we're going to look at. The Sword of Screams is interesting in that it's a rapier that does 1d4 psychic damage. So, and it always does 1d4 psychic damage. It's also a finesse weapon, so it uses your dexterity stat as opposed to your strength stat. It's not a light weapon, so you can't dual wield it. So at this point, it becomes a, do I want to have the ability to sing or shriek with Falar Louv as opposed to the straight damage upgrade for the Sword of Screams? And it's something to explore as you go. I tend to use the sing and shriek from Falar Louv a bit more often than I do other situational things. So I tend to stick with it a little bit more, but we'll look at it and see. Then just a regular dagger +1. The last two things here, the first is the Spider's Lyre. So a unique instrument here, and it just gives you the same two class items or class options for a bard to be able to perform with. And then you have a broken moon lantern. And for this, I'm going to pick this up with Gale.
Ah, excellent choice.
Object catches your eye. A lantern, it seems, though no light flickers within.
Broken. And there's dust inside it.
Okay, so we have an Arcana check we can make. There's also an investigation check, but either of these, they're both intelligence-based. We also are going to get some additional bonuses here from Mage's Friend for Arcana.
This is pixie dust, used to illuminate a lamp, or left behind after a pixie's death. You see no burner or wick. It was not fuel that lit this lamp, but magic.
Okay, so the moon lantern is broken for all intents and purposes here, and is not going to be usable for us in its current state. But it kind of gives you an idea about what the moon lantern is used for and how it's used, in that it houses a pixie. Doesn't necessarily tell you what that pixie's utilized for or entirely how it works, but it gives you kind of an opening hint to more about the moon lanterns. And we're going to learn more about them as we go.
Easy.
Okay, so this is basically just a deed of ownership saying that the Ironhand Gnomes are taking all of this territory as theirs. We can see how well that worked out for them. Okay, now there are some other things to
despite everything,
to take a look at here really quickly, and we're not going to go through all of them, but first we can hop over here. Can search the skeleton here. Okay, so this talks about ascending. If you're not aware of tabletop D&D, ascending is a spell that you can cast which allows you to send a message of up to 25 words to someone else in the world, and they will hear your voice coming out of nowhere in their head to relay a message. This was written down, but obviously wasn't finished, and the sending wasn't actually completed, so the alarm never went out. And then
over here. The mark of the Absolute. No intention of playing nice with the other gods, it seems.
So now, looking around here, you can see hints of other places and other things that we're going to get to. Now, just to be clear...
Seek and you shall find me. With ease.
You can Misty Step into these other areas. It's too far to jump, but you can... It's actually not too far to jump if you use the jump spell, I believe, which he has available to him on a ring, right? The ring of jumping here, using the jump spell. I believe you can actually jump over to this. And this puts you into another area over here, and in fact, there's a waypoint here that you can trigger, which can open up fast traveling back to this this other area really easily. There isn't really a downside in doing that. There is an encounter down in this area, and Misty stepping over here and triggering this waypoint is going to allow you to bypass a lot of the additional pathway and encounters that go along with getting to that section of the map and where it leads to. So I actually haven't done this before, but there's no reason why I can't. Let's try the ring first, because I'm really anxious to see if this actually makes it over there or not. With Astarion, he's got a really low strength, but people don't have very high strength in my party anyway. So yes, he can make it over here. Okay, I'm going to go into hiding here. There's a splint mold here, which I'm not necessarily going to pick up. I'm not going to deal with this stuff here right now. All I'm going to do is trigger the waypoint. Okay. So there it is. Come out of hiding. Use the last little bit of the jump spell before it wears off to come over here. So now you have the Ancient Forge waypoint unlocked. And like I say, if you are interested in just mashing your way through this whole thing, you can avoid a lot of stuff by just utilizing that waypoint. Okay, and the jump spell here is a short rest, so I'm going to get that back once I take my first short rest, so that's good. Okay, so now for the rest of it, we're going to go look at this a little bit more in depth later on. I'm interested. Okay, so it just deals poison damage. Okay, so yeah, nothing else as far as the resistances go, so. So again, we noticed some of these areas while we were getting ready for our encounter. Yeah, certainly is, Scorcho. And what he's talking about is the club of no giant strength,
Wits and blades always sharp.
which is here. Takes your strength up to 19. That gives you a much higher jump distance. However, even that, I know for a fact that that 19 strength does not make it across that gap. You need a jump spell or a misty step to get up there to do it. So while you're looking around, or while you're wandering around, just keep an eye out off to the side around you and see if you see additional things that might be out and about. If you see other pathways and that sort of stuff, it's always... And I'm not saying that we're going to run into those things, because I know what's out and about here. But it's just something to keep in mind as you're going, that what you see, and I finally get to pick up my potion of of greater healing here without getting attacked.
Shadow bag of holding. One day I'll catch a break.
But yeah, you can see that there's a lot of stuff, right? Which is out and about. So don't get so focused on where you're walking that you miss all of the stuff around you. So we're going to head down here. Actually, I don't want to. We are so close, but there's not a whole lot of other opportunities here. I think I'm going to try and go... Yeah, stop thief. That's exactly what happened to me. I'm going to... Yeah, both of these are not what I want to do. But...
What's hiding here?
Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself as I go through this. I would really really like to be level 6 right now. I'm just a little bit short.
Open up.
Oh. Okay. The Air of Arcane Interference is great. I love finding those. If you cast it at a spellcaster, it automatically breaks their concentration and silences the target. So there's not a saving throw involved in it. If you hit with it, it works. So that's a great arrow to have in your back pocket for dealing with dangerous spellcasters. Okay, so we recognize that pin, right? That's the Harpers. Okay, so this Harper was sent to investigate Grymforge here.
What an odd emblem. Don't think I've seen it before.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Zahan, Harper Scout. Cultists, threat to Baldur's Gate. Jaheira's orders.
That name doesn't ring a bell.
Yes, it does. That, I believe this is the first time you hear that name in the game. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not going to spoil things. There's a lot that is being revealed here about things that happen in the continuation of Act 2. Jaheira is working for the Harpers. The Harpers are going to play an integral role in the overall play out of the storyline here, but they're going to be especially prominent in the next 2 acts. We've gotten Harper caches and things like that scattered throughout the overworld so far, but there's a lot of things that are beginning to come to light and develop involving the Harpers. Jaheira I think Gale throwing that out there that he doesn't know that name is kind of a joke to everybody who has played previous Baldur's Gate games. And we're going to learn more about Jaheira as we go.
Have none. Last light, a safe haven in shadows. God, interrogate.
The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
Okay, there again was the first mention of the last light. That is an inn that is we're going to be again exploring into once we get into the Shadowlands and progress through that. So I'm anxious to know, do we still have... Yeah, there's no quest marker for Philomene anymore. So we're going to go and show you a couple of quick things here before we end today about how this would play out if you didn't have smoke powder on you already.
On my way.
When you were going through this. Okay. So the first is going up to find Philomene. Philomene's encounter can play out a bunch of different ways. And if it doesn't play out favorably to you, and you don't get the rune powder explosives up there, then this cache is marked on your map. Come down here, open it up. Inside this room, you're going to find a heavy chest here. You also found this collapsed archway, which is another way into here from the outside with wild shape or small character, that type of thing. The DC on finding that's a DC 5. So it's the DC for finding the switch or the button is a DC 10. So this is like a fallback if you can't pass the perception check to find the button to open the door. So in the chest here, just some gold, some camp supplies, some stuff to sell. But over here on the stone slab is more smoke powder satchels, or are more smoke powder satchels. So this is your fallback in case you do not get the stash from, or the rune powder barrel from Philomene.
Let's have a look.
And now that we no longer need the rune powder barrel from Philomene, there's no longer a quest marker up here, but that does not mean that things are finished up here. So here, inside these doors is the continuation of the path to get up to the rune powder barrel with Philomene. And this is a great point for us to end the stream. So ended up at a good point here. When we get back next week, we'll continue on through the vestiges here of the refuge, and then we're going to head into the Grymforge area of this place and really start opening up more of the lore behind the Sharran temple itself, as well as let Astarion shine in disabling trap after trap after trap, and also possibly getting us into what was the penultimate combat encounter in early access before the full game released. So we'll see. I think we're going to have enough time to get to that on both playthroughs actually next week. But we will see. Before we get into that, we will gain enough experience to get up to level 6 here on this playthrough. We're already level 6 on the Bard playthrough. So getting to that point and finishing that up is going to be a pretty big accomplishment for us here at this point. Before we head out to do other things, once we've finished things up in here and gotten to a point where we're ready to enter the Shadowlands, we're going to actually head back out of here and go do some other things. But the other thing that we're going to do at some point here is head back, after we deal with Philomene, is to head back to the Myconid colony to reunite everybody and complete the Deliver Nere's Head quest that is back there that we need to finish up. So I think with that, again, we're at a great point to say goodbye for this evening. Again, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. Without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying until next time, fare thee well.